Welcome back to the news in full. President Abdel Fattah ElSissi starts a tour on Tuesday that includes visits to India, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain. The president will begin his tour by visiting United Arab Emirates. The aim of the visit is bilateral relations, the Middle East crises, and means of combating extremism and terrorism. ElSissi will then head to India to participate in the third India-Africa Forum that comprises more than 40 African countries. The summit discusses ways to develop economic cooperation between India and the African continent and promote investment. The president will then head to the Kingdom of Bahrain for talks with King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. The two Arab leaders will discuss ways to boost bilateral relations and follow up on the existing coordination between them to cope with current regional challenges. President Abdel Fattah ElSissi presided over an urgent meeting with the full lineup of the cabinet, at the presidential palace. The president instructed the government, in coordination with all the state institutions and the armed forces, to take all the measures to contain the situation and all the repercussions that have occurred as a result of the unstable weather conditions in some cities. The president also gave his instructions to provide all care to citizens who were affected and for the families of those who died as a result of the bad weather conditions. Prime Minister Sharif Ismail accepted the resignation of Alexandria Governor Hani al-Misri and appointed the deputy governor to be the caretaker governor of the governorate of Alexandria. The Prime Minister also said that all measures would be taken to transfer the head of the sanitary company from his post, adding that he will assign the head of the water sanitary holding company to follow up with the quick implementation of the infrastructure and the services projects, particularly in Alexandria. Earlier, the Premier toured Alexandria's most damaged streets to inspect the situation on the ground and measures taken by the executive authorities. Torrential rains have lashed the Mediterranean of Alexandria on Sunday, killing 5 people, including 2 children and a captain of a ship was trapped in his car by the floodwaters. The downpour began in the early morning and quickly flooded several streets in Egypt's second city, as well as the Corniche of Alexandria. And in South Sinai, the cities of Ras Sidr and Abu Znima were also hit by rains that amounted to floods, being accompanied by a sandstorm. The General Director of the Crisis Management Operations Center in south of Sinai, Sam Khidr, had announced that there were no damages, adding that the 3 main highways, including the Taban Weba and Wadi of St. Catherine and also the Wadi Firan, were closed due to the floods that already hit the valleys. Khidr had stated earlier Nuweiba port was normally functioning, adding that Sharm el-Sheikh port was closed since afternoon. Meanwhile, the governor of South Sinai, Khaled Fouda, announced a state of emergency in the governorate. And Egyptian expats start on Monday voting in the runoff of the first phase of the parliamentary elections. The elections are held in 139 embassies and consulates around the world. The 2-day runoff started at 9 a.m., closes 9 p.m. according to the local time of every country. Egyptians inside the country start Tuesday the voting in the runoff of the first phase. The first phase of the parliamentary elections are held across 14 governorates, including Giza, Fayoum, Beni Suef, Minya, Asyut, Suhag, Qina, Luxor, Aswan, New Valley, the Red Sea, Bahira, Alexandria, and Marsa Matruh. On Sunday, the electoral silence began in the runoff of the first phase of the elections. For its part, the Foreign Ministry said that Egypt's consulates and embassies have finalized the preparations for the runoff round slated for next Monday and Tuesday. The voting will not be held in Libya, Syria, Yemen, and the Central African Republic due to the security situation in those nations. And shedding more light on the issue, we're joined over the phone by Mr. Malek Shenouda, head of the Egyptian Community. Sir, how do you see the voting process? How is it going for expats in the runoff of the first phase of the elections? Mr. Malek, good day.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
الحالة الانتخابية.
What about
أستاذ ملاك؟
the election status? Hello, good morning.
صباح النور. هنا مساء الخير يا
Here
فندم.
we are in the evening. Okay, good afternoon. As for the election now.
أيوة يا فندم.
Yes, we are listening. As for the situation we have now in Paris, the turnout is still moderate due to the fact that today is a normal working day. Today we do not have a holiday or a day off, so today and tomorrow are normal working days. So it is difficult to have a high turnout except after 6 p.m. And this is something that we've asked for before. If it's possible, for example, to do something like what happened in phase 1, to carry out elections on Sundays and Saturdays. And the voters themselves have a problem in knowing to whom they should give their votes, because they are not fully aware or knowledgeable of the events taking place in Egypt, or they don't know the background of the candidates or the constituencies they are running for, because those Egyptians who are in France have been absent from their country for so long. This is why we urgently asked, in order to have good votes cast, the government should take into consideration the fact that expats or Egyptian road should be directly contacted by candidates, so that there will be legitimacy to the parliament.
And Mr. Malek, for the first time, expats will be represented in parliament with a fixed quota. So how will this benefit
كيف يمكن
expats in the country?
If the constitution or the parliament would allow to have members for expats, to have a voice representing us in the parliament, to have a parliament member representing Egyptian expats, we should have presence in the Egyptian parliament, so that there has to be a channel of communication between Egyptian expats and their mother country. This is why they should have their presence in the parliament. They should also take part in the legislative process, because this is a national duty, so that in order to have appropriate representation for expats, the government should take into consideration from now on to have representatives of Egyptian expats, because the link between the two parties are the legitimacy they will be given through being represented in the parliament, and the attention should be given to Egyptian expats. We are in different countries of the world, in Europe, in Asia, and in African continent, and in Arab countries. We are extensively present, so they have to be representation of Egyptian expats in the parliament in order to give us legitimacy and to be capable of expressing our demands inside the parliament. But those who are living abroad for 20...
Mr. Malek Shenouda, head of the Egyptian community. Thank you so much for talking to Nile TV International. We're more following up the beat of the voting of expats abroad, and more also on the local situation. Stay with us. You're watching Panorama News on Nile TV.